Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Tom Bagsarian. I'm the managing editor of Hanley Wood's Commercial Division magazines. And welcome to CC Live and World of Concrete. We have a special treat for you this afternoon. We have Pierre Villere, who is the managing director of Allen-Villere Partners and longtime contributing editor and columnist to theconcreteproducer.com. And Pierre is going to talk to us today about the state of the industry. This is part 2. You could find parts 1 and 3 at our website, theconcreteproducer.com. So I give you Pierre Villere.
Thank you, Tom. As Tom said, we've already done an overview of the industry. And so now we're going to talk about part 2, which is an analysis of the size, region, and type of producers and how they performed in the Industry Data Survey. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to look at first at the analysis by company size, which is why that's highlighted. Having a little issue with my remote here. There we go. And we wanted to mention that size really does matter in this industry, and you'll see that we have a pretty interesting cross-section of participants. 33 participants were 300 to 500,000 yards. 63 participants were 100 to 299,000 yards. 40 participants were less than 100,000 yards. So if you look at this, more than half would be what we call a small producer, small to medium-sized producer. And then 63 participants here, as many as the 100 to 299 are the large, over 500,000 yard producers, and that would include the large multinationals that have a big presence in the concrete industry. So to us, it was very, very interesting to see, once again, that participation crosses all size of businesses. Now, what's the sweet spot? Bigger isn't better, and we're going to show you. This is it right here. The 100 to 299,000 yard producer is the most profitable in the industry, okay? He earns $3.72 a cubic yard compared to 100,000 yards at $1.67. You see the 300 to 500, amazingly, don't do very well. They lost $1.53, and then the over 500,000 does $2.56, and that compares to $2.23 for the average. If you saw in the prior presentation, we talked about the average respondent earning $2.23 a cubic yard. That, in turn, compares to the lower quartile at a $9.20 loss, and the upper quartile, which is the top 25% of the performers, at $12.16. So, once again, this year, the 100 to 299 seems to be the most profitable sector. So let's look at this in some detail. Here's one of the reasons why. They're getting $102 a yard for their concrete. They have a $4 advantage over the $98.23 selling price, and that $4 advantage translates down to about $1.49 better. They're earning $3.72 versus $2.23. So I get through some of these little metrics here. I'll have to get Tom to spring for a better clicker next year. And you'll see that they also significantly outperformed the big guys. So here's a comparison of the over 500,000. They got $97.50 per cubic yard, which was actually less than the industry average. And they, of course, the 100 to 299 is at $102.40 for a $4.89 difference. I'll tell you what we see in the industry. We believe that this is potentially a 400,000 yard producer, and they're not a 400,000 yard producer because they're walking away from work they can't make money on. If they're not making money on every load of concrete, they walk away from the work. So they're smaller businesses that are more profitable because they get their selling price, they get the right customer mix, they develop a customer base that they can make money selling to. Okay. Having button problems here. Okay. Here are just some metrics. We saw this. Sorry, let me get rid of this. We saw this too. Okay, let's look at percentage of yardage by use. And through the sizes, this is very, very interesting. You'll see that even the 100 to 299,000 cubic yard producers get a significant amount of commercial structure work at 42% of their business. They do, the small guys, as you would expect, do 38%. This is the under 100,000 yard producer. 38% is in residential housing, and then it gets to be a smaller percentage the bigger the business gets. The bigger the business gets, the larger the percentage of big public work and commercial work. All right, let's take a look at regions. Okay, you can see, again, this is pretty well spread around the entire United States. We had 30 in the southeastern United States, 34 in the Great Lakes, 31 in South Central, and 38 in the northeastern and mid-Atlantic. So we get a very, very fair and representative cross-section of participants by geography. This has been true for 15 years, at least. The Rocky Mountain outperforms everybody in terms of profitability. This is the top performing sector in the country. It is followed by the Pacific Northwest, and you can see there's some areas like the Great Lakes where people lose money, and the southeastern United States at 72 cents. You've got to remember that that includes some hard-hit markets like Florida during the recession, and in 2014 they were still climbing out. People ask us about this all the time. Why is this true year after year after year? And we say we have clients in those regions. We work with those clients. We look at their financial statements. And one of the things we note is that there is a culture in those markets of making money. And it's not that they're doing anything like silly, like collusion. They just have a culture that everybody understands there's a minimum price they can sell concrete for. And they do a very good job from a cultural standpoint. So here's your answer again. $108.46 is why Rocky Mountain does so well, which is fully $10.23 more than the typical producer. And you'll see they are a full $9, almost $10 more per cubic yard in terms of profitability. 5 times more profitable than the typical member. Okay, let's take a look at the company type. This can't come as any surprise to you. This is urban. There were 40 respondents that call themselves urban. This is rural, which is 11 respondents. And the mixed area is 141 respondents. That is what you would expect. You go to any large market in the United States, you come, Las Vegas is probably not the best example, but any place. Go to San Antonio, Texas. You'll get 2 or 3 downtown plants or in the center of the city plants that do a lot of business, and then the rest of the plants are beyond the beltways and in other areas well outside the city, and that's why they consider themselves mixed areas. Profitability by company type, company area type, you can see that the urbans do the best at 581. And when you start looking at markets like New York and Chicago, they do substantially better than that. They also get a much higher average selling price. So mixed areas at $1.30 and rural areas at $3.26. Rural areas you would expect, they're selling less than full loads. They're not getting 10 yards on every load, so they're getting short load charges, they're getting hot water or cold water charges, they're getting all the adders, and they're getting a price for their concrete. Pre-tax return on assets improved from a loss of 1.4% in 13 to a positive of 3.0 in 2014. That's a big deal. Pre-tax return on assets remains well below the 16.1% at the peak in 2006. We still have a long way to go in our journey. Here was the 2006 high when the industry earned $7.63. In 14, we earned $2.23. even though, look at the difference. Selling price was up fully $8 over 2006, and yet our profitability is still only $2.23. There's a $2.71 differential in materials cost. So we're still $5.40 away from our all-time high. So from our perspective, there's still a lot of runway left in terms of returning to profitability in the industry.